Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Untitled Until Further Notice. I am your host, KwonTon. Good to see you guys again. As always, thank you, everyone, all my supporters, those who speak to me in the background, those who, you know, comment underneath my videos, um, my posts on my social media. Just thank you guys so much. Another thank you to the FMF podcast, my guys, Paul DeBerry, uh, Anthony Giovanni, Trayvon Pratt, my guy, Robert Utley of the Robert Utley Show, um, the podcast that I featured on when I took my trip to Virginia. They have now premiered. Um, for those who have seen it, I appreciate all the encouraging messages and just the support that you've been showing. I've garnered some new subscribers and some new followers on my various platforms. So thank you to those gentlemen for giving me an opportunity to be able to, speak to their audience, and thus now we have some mutual followers. I appreciate those gentlemen so much. And another special shout out to my guy Paul, who it was that I highlighted in my last episode, speaking on inspiration. Um, he really appreciated the fact that I spoke on him, and he decided that he was going to go a bit further, and he created an entire challenge behind the fact that I showed him that love. The hashtag Who Inspires You challenge. So, if you guys will go to Paul's page, you'll see there in his archive the Who Inspires You challenge, the video that he created. Also on his podcast, King of the Berries, on his page here on YouTube, he also placed the entire video there so that you can see the other various people who it was that inspire him to do what it is that he does. Please continue to follow and support that brother. That's incredible what it is that he's doing, whether it's his rebuilding men, his financial coaching, helping people of our community, people who look like us, make sure that they have life insurance policies and things like that. Just really all around good brother. Just continue to support him and push him on. With all that being said, I mentioned there at the end of the last episode that I would be watching the Kanye West documentary, Jeen-yuhs, and giving some feedback on it. And sure enough, I saw part one, and I definitely have some things that I want to say. I did enjoy it. It was a great watch, so much so I went ahead and watched it twice. Uh, really make sure that I'm prepared for what it is that I want to say concerning it. And yeah, Kanye's been in the news for a lot lately. I don't really want to go too much into my thoughts on all of that, other than, I don't agree with harassing women. And I wish that they could keep a lot of that in house. I understand that they are in the media and are public figures and things like that, but it's a lot of it's nasty. It shouldn't be. We shouldn't be privy to all that. All right, enough of that. Enough on that. Um, let's go into celebrating him and his documentary, what it is that we've been able to see thus far, and just some of the things that I noticed and I want to highlight. I want to speak on a bit. Um, so anybody who doesn't know, this Kanye West documentary is there. on Netflix. It's 3 parts thus far. It was directed by a close friend of Kanye's who recorded several years of his life. Um, let's see, at least 10 plus years, you know, probably 20. Yeah, at least 20 plus years at this point. You know, he's been documenting Kanye's rise to what we know him as now. And his name is Coodie. And the first thing that stood out to me when I was watching the documentary, you know, the first note that I took was the quote that Coodie said in the beginning. He said that every great story begins with a vision. And, you know, I feel like that speaks for itself, you know, as far as vision is concerned, you know, what it means to have vision, what it is that you see for yourself, you know, that quote stood out to me. I like that quote, Cootie. Every great story begins with a vision, you know. I thought it was interesting. He talked about being inspired by the Hoop Dreams movie, which is also filmed in Illinois. For those who don't know, in regards to Hoop Dreams, you know, it was a film that was there. It was filmed there in Illinois. It's a 1994 film, and you know it followed two kids, William Gates and Arthur Agee. I think maybe that may be the way to say it, but yeah, it just followed their journey, them being aspiring basketball players there in their city. You know, highly touted. It shows the work ethic that they had and what it was that they were willing to do, things like that. Um, Unfortunately, it didn't work out for either of them. Neither one of them ended up going to the NBA like they wanted to, but it made for an entertaining story, you know. But just that documentary style, I think that's what it was that inspired Coodie um, during this time, you know, to go ahead and do that for Kanye West also. Next thing I want to point out is just Black Star. Like, I'm not like a avid Black Star fan, but I remember the first time I ever heard them, I liked them immediately. You know, for those who don't know, that's Mos Def and Talib Kweli, the duo that is that they have. Um, Very incredible. You know, the music was just very empowering, and both of those artists are incredible. I enjoy the both of them, and this documentary, like I said, it was really good. It was very detailed. We got to see a lot of things, and one of the scenes that is when Kanye decides that he's going to go into the Rockefeller office and he's going to play them his song "All Falls Down," a very rough copy of a rough draft, so to speak, of "All Falls Down," and you know, I saw a lot of talk online in regards to, you know, people being disinterested while it was that he's playing it. You know, others who were in the office that day, you know, they've now come out and said, "Hey, that wasn't the first time we had ever heard him play that." You know, what it was that we saw in the documentary, that was not the first day that he had played that, and by that point, you know, that song was a bit of old news, and so our reaction was what it was. So, you know, I get that. But the part that I want to highlight is the contrast between what was playing in the background and Kanye's song "All Falls Down." So initially, what it is that I heard playing was "Boy" by Cameron. At that moment, I guess that was pretty popular on the airwaves. so to speak. That didn't sound like All Falls Down at all, you know. So, with that being one of the hottest songs at the time, you can see why All Falls Down would be a little left and unconventional. Maybe wouldn't be what you'd want to push at that time. And then also, I heard Sean Paul, you know, uh, reggaeton, reggaeton legend, Sean Paul, um, playing as well there in the background, and he was on fire at this time. You know, club music, dance music was very popular at this time. Um, Funny story about the song that was playing. "Give Me the Light," I believe, is the song that was playing. So, real quick, I had this aerobics class I took in high school. I think it was maybe my sophomore year that I was taking aerobics, and at that time I was just getting into working out and fitness and things like that, and so I decided that I was going to take an aerobics class, and there was a lot of beautiful women that were also in this aerobics class, you know, so I wanted to make sure I signed up for that reason as well. But we had an assignment in this aerobics class. You know, the aerobics teacher, she is obsessed with like Tybo and like Denise Austin and watching them old VHS tapes. And so she had the idea that she was gonna have us create our own VHS tape, like doing a routine or something, man. And I wasn't with it from the beginning. Like I did not want to do that. I did not want to do that. So because I didn't want to do it, I put the least amount of effort as possible. And sure enough, it showed by the end, you know, put together at the very end, like the day before I decided, I said, you know what? We gonna go in here. We didn't have it recorded. We didn't have it recorded. We said we was gonna do we was gonna do our routine live. So it was me and about four other people. The day of, I came in with my mom's uncensored Sean Paul Dirty Rock CD. I came in with her CD, and I told them, I said, "Listen, we gonna get on the floor, and we gonna try to do crunches. We gonna try to do crunches to the best of our ability, and we gonna try to do it on beat to this song playing." And we played two songs. I let two songs go. I let "Give Me the Light" and "Shake That Thing." That's what it was. That we was on the floor doing crunches too, and yeah, our grade reflected, because I was the leader, I got a D, and every everybody else got Fs because we didn't record it. We instead did it in front of the class, and I think there was cussing in the CD because it was uncensored. It was supposed to be censored music, but I particularly chose Sean Paul because I wasn't expecting nobody to understand. If he was cussing, nobody was gonna understand that's what was being said. It didn't work out though. It didn't work out. I got a D. They got Fs. So that's how that project went. Oh man, shout out to Sean Paul, man. Um, so yeah, that's a little side story. Back to Ye though. So Cootie said an interesting thing there in the documentary. He was quoted by saying, "The more time I spent with Kanye, the more I wanted him to win." And I just wanted to speak on that for a moment. Again, shout out to my guys, FMF Podcast, my guy Robert Utley, um, someone who's featured there on the FMF Podcast. Keith Stupid, shout out to my guy Keith, man. The more time I spend around these brothers, the more it is that I want them to win. Like when I see them, I see reflections of myself. And God knows I want to win. I definitely want to be successful. So the people who look like me, I want them to be successful as well. I see us being successful together and moving forward. God willing, I do everything that I can to help them, and I feel that they do the same for me. I just like the fact that Cootie, he took the time to say that. He spent a lot of time in the documentary talking about how Kanye inspired him and what it was that he saw in him. He had the foresight to see, wow, this guy really has something about him. He's going to be somebody. He's different. He's setting himself apart. He's not like everybody else in the city who may say that they have, aspirations, but they just keep dreaming. They don't actually have that vision to go after what it is that they see for themselves. And I just think that that's very important to elevation, that you have people around you who it is that want to see you win and, aren't going to be enablers, to whatever bad habits it is that you might have. So yeah, just shout out to my friends, the ones who are pushing me forward, the ones that want to see me win, the ones who aren't enabling me to be lazy and, are constantly pushing me to achieve more, strive for more. Shout out to y'all. Yeah. I almost forgot, man. I don't even have Young Cam Band playing for y'all. My bad. Go ahead and turn that on. That's another one. Who it is that pushes me forward, always giving me words of encouragement. Definitely wants to see me win. I want to see you too. I want to see you win too, Cam. I want to see you win. Let's see, what else? I thought it was interesting that it was said that Common did go gold, but they said it was after 5 albums. After 5 albums, he finally went gold. That was something that they mentioned in the documentary. Um, I hope that they weren't, exaggerating. You know, I kind of hope they were. I kind of hope they were, because that would be a bit ridiculous to me. Common, 5 albums to even go gold. Man, I understand that back in that time that you actually had to sell records. You actually had to sell CDs and things like that. But maybe that just speaks to how big a feat it was that Ye was coming out of Chicago. Being able to get on such a large market, and be able to go more global. Maybe that just really speaks more to that. But you know, Common, as incredible as he is, to only or to just be getting the gold after 5 albums, that speaks to his work ethic. Shout out to Common. Yeah, he also was talking about, going out and working for something, not having this 40 acres and a mule complex thinking the world owes you something. You know, I took that away from what he was saying, when he made mention of that. That stuck with me a bit. Ironically, if just recently, Kim Kardashian, she was quoted as saying, not enough people wanting to work and go out and work, get your ass up, like things like that. She got flamed for it, considering her position, it was a little bit tone deaf considering who she is, but that's the reality. We all have to work, and what work looks like to you may not look like work to me. We all have different ways in which that we have to work, and what degree of difficulty our work may be, and things like that. Um, let's see. Uh, he was most deaf in the dot, but as you know, or maybe you don't know, Mos Def no longer goes by that name. He is Yasin Bey. He essentially left the music industry. Um, I'll let y'all look up. Why it was that he chose to leave. What it was that occurred. After his album came out. The song was missing and things like that. And I guess he felt some type of way about it. Who the powers that be there in the music industry. Um, and just Raucous Records. That's who it was that they were signed to. Both him and Talib Kweli, and they wanted Ye on Raucous as well. They were helping him early in his career, trying to help him propel forward and things like that. But it didn't work out that he was able to be signed there. But I wanted to make sure that point was highlighted. And he also, I want to make mention of this because I think that this is important also. He told the universe what he wanted as far as, him wanting to be a rapper, what it was that he saw for himself, but along with saying that, it was recorded. And I think that this is a big thing that we're seeing that I haven't seen a whole lot of people talk about. We have to be careful what it is that we're saying while we're on camera. Because a lot of times, what it is that's being recorded ends up being replayed. And with your voice being sent out into the airwaves, into the universe, that's like a reinforcement. It's a constant reinforcement. Every time it is that's played, the universe hears what it is that you said. So I think we need to be more cognizant of what it is that we're saying and making sure that we mean what we say while we're being recorded. I only hope that the universe has a bit of grace though, because I like to be silly. I always like to have a good time. I say a lot of jokes. It's I don't want the universe to take everything that I say seriously, especially as I continue to get more comfortable with recording and being on camera, being on podcasts, and what it is I see for myself, what I envision for this podcast to maybe be someday. I'm gonna be silly. I'm gonna be sarcastic. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna make jokes. Make a lot of jokes, and I'm not gonna be serious, So hopefully, it'll make a difference if I reinforce by saying I'm joking and things like that. Hopefully the universe will listen to me. But yeah, man, the universe is forever listening. You know, um, just a few more resources uh, backing up this idea. I think about the book As a Man Thinketh. I think about Think and Grow Rich. I think about The Secret and Law of Attraction. If you never read those books before, those are excellent in regards to, setting vision for yourself and creating the life that is that you see for yourself. Help get your mindset right. Another resource, AIM, Always Improving Mind. My guy Trayvon Pratt. Get with him, man. Go check out what it is that he's got going on. He also does book recommendations. Um, actually, uh, he actually suggested "As a Man Thinketh" to me. You know, he was the first person to mention that book to me. So thank you, Trey. Shout out to Trey. Um, yeah. Another thing that is I want to point out here is that it's man. Okay, so there's a part in the documentary in which somebody was Kanye was very close to, someone who he was mentored by. Uh, as Kanye's fame continues to rise, he had an opportunity to um, say some things about Ye, and the things that he said, Ye took them as a diss. He didn't appreciate what it was that was said, and basically, once he confronted the guy, he said that he didn't feel like Ye put him in the best light. You know, he didn't speak to his contributions fully to, as he felt that he should be. And so, with all that being said, I just want to say how important it is to always take a moment to lift others up. You know, I never, I try to never miss an opportunity to mention my guys, FMF Podcast, Robert Utley, the Robert Utley Show. Now my guy Keys Stupid. They're on IG, STOOPID, Keys Stupid. Let's see, Young Cam Bam. You know, these people, they know me. They know me. They know me pretty intimately. And so as my star continues to rise, God willing, I'll be able to take them with me, and God willing, they'll always have good things to say about me. Let's see. Yeah, Doug Infinite felt away. Kanye didn't sing his praises enough, and another one of my just yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. One of my role models is Charlemagne the God. And I understand that he has a lot of controversy concerning him a lot, early in his career, things that he said, things that, that maybe he's done or been accused of doing. That's not what it is I'm here to speak to. I follow this man. I've followed this man for years, and seen the growth and elevation that has taken place in his life. The things that it is that he's been able to overcome, and he inspires me in many ways. But don't just let me speak to it. I got this this podcast that I listen to, Straight Shot No Chaser, with Teslin Figaro. They're on the Black Effect Podcast Network. Shout out to all them and the work that they do. And I remember she was doing an interview with Charlemagne in which, she sang his praises, talking about the fact that he does this. And I got it clipped here so that we'll be able to hear it together. Let's see here. Just listen to what it is that she speaks to. Again, the context is Charlemagne was just talking about why it is that he highlights people the way that it is that he does.
And I'm like, yo, you should reach out to this person to have this conversation, or reach out to that person to have that conversation. But I do turn down more things than I actually do. Especially
you're one of the few who do it. A lot of people, they just don't want to share their shine. I mean, let's just keep it real. The ego's involved, pride's involved. They want to be the only one on top. They don't. I mean, they see it as a competition instead of, a little. It's a lot. It's enough out here for everybody.
Well, I would say that those people don't care about black people as a whole. Then.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean? Because I care about black people as a whole. I care about us winning as a community. And, you know, Jay-Z had this line back in the day where he said, if everybody in your clique is rich, your clique is rugged, nobody will fall because everybody will be each other's crutches. And I look at that past finances. You know what I'm saying? If everybody in your circle has a voice, if everybody in your circle has a platform, how can the black community be stopped if everybody's strong, if everybody got strong foundations to stand on? And I think we at the point too, man, like not just for black men, but just men, period, man. You gotta shut the fuck up and let women lead. You know what I mean? By the way, black women been leading us our whole life. My mama,
Literally.
my grandma, my aunt. You know what I'm saying? I even think about the people I used to like be around when I was little. I was around my older sister and my girl cousin so much so that my dad used to be like, get out of here with all these goddamn girls. Go hang out with the boys. I'm like, you niggas ain't talking about shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how I used to always feel. So it's just like, now I love seeing women in the forefront, and that's how it should be. All the brothers should do is we should just sit back and have y'all back. So y'all
stand back and stand by.
Stand back and stand by. So y'all we the black and proud boys. Okay? So y'all not afraid to show up as your full selves. When we empower black women to show up as their full selves just by having their back, our community is unstoppable. I truly believe that.
That's so real, man. I just appreciate it. People think you're so, are probably with your career, prince of pissing people off, but you have been a power maker. I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to set your pride to the side and ego to the side to say, hey, shout out to my girl Tesla and Tamika. People just don't do that. I mean, I've had clients that I work for that have never gave me a shout out, which is cool. I'm behind the scenes on a lot of shit. You have been one of the few. I would probably say out of a total of 2 or 3 people that have ever just said, no, give her an opportunity to speak. And that matters a lot. To me, I never gave a damn because it's like, even if I'm helping a client move their voice forward or helping them be better at what they do, I love black people. So it didn't matter to me how it happened. We've had conversations. I'm like, I don't need to be on that call or that call. I just want to know that it's getting done. That somebody is pushing this line. I don't have to be in the room. But it still feels nice when somebody says, come in the room because you've earned an opportunity to be in the room based upon your work and not just talk. Absolutely. So that means a lot to me.
Absolutely.
Well, I look forward to staying.
So, ever since I heard that, I said, if I ever get an opportunity, or when I get an opportunity, I didn't say if ever, when I get the opportunity to have a platform, I'm going to make sure that I lift others up. And that's what this whole thing is about, Untitled Until Further Notice. I want to give out resources, people who have done the work up to this point, who have, either created platforms or made resources for others that are going to be helpful, that have helped me. Maybe it is I can pass down to someone else, just always want to be able to cite who it is that I got what from. So, again, back to Kanye. Let's see. Charlemagne, always citing his sources, saying others by name, not erasing them from history. That's important. Every day we are building our legacy, so we should be living like it. We don't want to erase anybody from history in our legacies. The ones who it is that made an impact, their story deserves to be told as well. Even if they won't tell their own. That's very important to me. Another thing that I saw being spoken about on social media in concerns to this documentary was what it was that Kanye's mom said. It was incredible to see Donda West throughout this entire in the first part of the documentary. I haven't seen any others. I'm not sure whether she's there. I'm sure she probably is. It was really encouraging to see that and be able to see his relationship with his mom. I thought that all that was really cool. It was beautiful. She was a beautiful soul. God rest her soul. So yeah, I enjoyed that part as well. But what it was that people were talking about on social media was what it was that she said to Kanye West. And the quote is, "A giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing." And her interpretation of this quote was that a giant, because he's so big, he can look in the mirror, but he won't see his reflection because he's so big, he's in the air, but he can be grounded at the same time. His feet can be grounded at the same time. And that was interesting. That was an interesting, interpretation of the quote. I heard something a bit different though. When I heard this quote, what it made me think about was that if a giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing, then that means that they can't make a mirror big enough for his reflection. That's what it was that I got from that. You know, I'm, if I'm a giant, I'm so big that I can't see my own reflection. They can't make a mirror big enough. You know, I'm too big. I'm the biggest thing. They can't, if they can't make a mirror big enough for me to see, then I interpret that as just the level that I'm on is so elevated. Nobody else can tell me what that looks like. That's kind of how it was I interpreted. Speaking for myself, what it is I see for myself, is so big that nobody else can really even imagine it. They couldn't think to make a mirror big enough for how big I see myself. That's how it is I perceive it. I like that better. And let's see. I thought it was incredible that all he said he'd do in his "You Hear It First" interview, he did end up doing. And something that is I've been trying to implement in my own life, or I have been implementing in my own life. I've been following Don Miguel Ruiz's The Four Agreements the best I can. Again, shout out to Charlemagne. I learned about this book from him. Heard about it on the Breakfast Club. He's had Don Miguel Ruiz come on to the Breakfast Club and speak on his books. But the first agreement of the four agreements is be impeccable with your word. Be impeccable with your word. And I'm going to let Don Miguel Ruiz tell it how important this is. This is coming directly from his book. Let's see. The first agreement. Be impeccable with your word. The first agreement is the most important one and also the most difficult one to honor. It is so important that with just this first agreement, you will be able to transcend to the level of existence I call heaven on earth. The first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. It sounds very simple, but it is very, very powerful. Why your word? Your word is the power that you have to create. Your word is the gift that comes directly from God, the universe, whichever interpretation it is that you go with. It is through the word that you manifest everything. Regardless of what language you speak, your intent manifests through the word. What you dream, what you feel, and what you really are will all be manifested through the word. The word is not just a sound or a written symbol. The word is a force. It's a power you have to express and communicate, to think, and thereby to create the events in your life. You can speak. What other animal on the planet can speak? The word is the most powerful tool you have as a human. It is the tool of magic. But like a sword with two edges, your word can create the most beautiful dream, or your word can destroy everything around you. One edge is the misuse of the word, which creates a living hell. The other edge is the impeccability of the word, which will only create beauty, love, and heaven on earth. Depending upon how it is used, the word can set you free, or it can enslave you even more than you know. All the magic you possess is based on your word. Your word is pure magic, and misuse of your word is black magic. Oh, I mean, there you go. I hate that black is used there as a deterrent, though. You know, that's been happening since the beginning of time. You know, just black itself being viewed as bad or negative. You know, but regardless, there it goes. So yeah, that's something to take away, and great read. You know, if you're interested, I suggest picking that book up and continuing to read. The free book is online. The book is online for free. Be able to read it there directly from the web. But those were all my takeaways thus far from episode 1 of Kanye West's Genius documentary there on Netflix. I hope that you enjoyed it. I intend to be back with an analysis of the Nets part. Go follow me at the KwonTon Soup there on IG. Also there on Twitter. Follow my guys, FMF Podcast. Follow Paul DeBerry, Anthony Giovanni, Trayvon Pratt. Follow all their pages, everything they have going on. My guy, Robert Utley, 804 Donna Utley, there on IG. Keith Stupid, QUISSTOOPID. Young Cam Bam. Again, all these, they'll be in the description down at the bottom. Be able to follow them and see all the ways that is that they inspire me. What it is that they're doing, what they got going on. Why these individuals are as incredible as I deem them to be. And yeah, this has been another episode of Untitled Until Further Notice, and this is peace until further notice.